October is here, and that means it's the fall season up here in the Northern Hemisphere. But more importantly, we are approaching the spookiest of holidays, Halloween. That means candy, costumes, and of course, creepy and scary video games to play. So, before you head out trick-or-treating, or wearing that sexy evil nurse costume, here are 5 games that you should play for Halloween. The first game on my list? Outlast. Now, there's a good chance you've heard about this game before, and for good reason. Personally, I think it's one of the scariest games to come out in the past few years. In Outlast, you play as a journalist who's investigating rumors of experiments going on at the Mount Massive Asylum. In this place, you'll encounter many patients and other lunatics who will like nothing more than to murder you. Unfortunately for your character, you have no way of fighting back. To get past enemies, you have to rely on stealth or running for your life. In my opinion, it's this feeling of helplessness that makes Outlast truly frightening. Also, if you're in a dark area, the only way you can see is through the night vision on your camcorder. Just be warned that using the night vision can drain the camera's batteries, so you'll have to scrounge for new batteries or be stingy in its use. Overall, if you're looking for a good scare this Halloween, Outlast will make a great choice. Up next, Blair Witch. This is actually a fairly recent release and just in time for Halloween. Taking place a couple years after the first movie, you play as a man named Ellis Lynch who's joining a search party looking for a missing boy who's lost in the Black Hills forest. In this search, you're also accompanied by your faithful dog Bullet, who can help you search for clues. In my opinion, I didn't find a lot of jump scare moments in Blair Witch, but what the game absolutely nails is a dark and foreboding atmosphere. The forest gives off an eerie vibe that keeps you constantly on edge. Early on, you'll also find an old camcorder that allows you to play tapes that contain some creepy images, and without giving too much away, allows you to manipulate your surroundings to help you solve the game's puzzles. Blair Witch is not a long game, lasting only around 5 hours, and admittedly I was a bit mixed on the game's ending. Still, overall, it's a good spooky ride while it lasts. For my next game suggestion, Detention. I've seen this game recommended on other videos I've watched, and I definitely think it's worth a play. Detention is set in 1960s Taiwan, and you follow 2 high school students, Wei and Ray, as they become trapped at their school, which suddenly becomes overrun with monsters and other supernatural events. In addition to some really creepy imagery, as you try to find your way out of the school, you'll encounter creatures known as the Lingered, which are based on Chinese folklore. You won't be able to fight back against the Lingered, and the only way you can deal with them is to either run away or to literally hold your breath and hope they don't notice you. Also, without spoiling too much, one of the best parts of the game is unraveling the backstory of the game's characters, which becomes more tragic the more you learn about them. In my opinion, Detention has plenty to offer horror fans, and is definitely a game that should be played. Next, the Resident Evil 2 remake. This game can definitely satisfy your horror needs. It's got zombies, monsters, blood, gore, and most importantly, Mr. X. I mean, this game pretty much just screams Halloween. Personally, I think that the Resident Evil 2 remake is one of the best games I played this year. It doesn't just clean up the original game, but completely overhauls it with modern graphics and controls. With this overhaul, the game feels even creepier and scarier than the original. The design of Raccoon City, and the police station in particular, is very well done, and will keep you guessing what's around the next corner. You'll definitely need to keep an eye out when walking around, as zombies and other creatures are more than willing to tear you apart. Oh, and I have to say that nothing beats that first encounter with Mr. X. One interesting thing about the remake is that, like the original Resident Evil 2, you'll need to solve various puzzles and find different keys to advance through the game. It's definitely a throwback to the roots of the series, but it actually fits into this modern game. The fact is, this new Resident Evil 2 is a fantastic game, and will provide plenty of bloody entertainment for horror fans everywhere. Last, but definitely not least, Friday the 13th, the game. While the previous games on my list are single-player affairs, Friday the 13th, the game is played with others online. In this game, up to 7 people will play as camp counselors, while one person becomes the hockey mask killer Jason Voorhees. As a counselor, your goal is to avoid getting killed by Jason and escape alive. This can be done, for example, by repairing a car or waiting for the police to arrive. Counselors can also find various weapons and tools which can be used to stun or distract Jason. Playing as a counselor is alright, but the best part of the game is when you get to control Jason himself. As Jason, your goal is to simply kill as many counselors as you can. To accomplish this, he'll have abilities that will allow him to teleport around the map, as well as sense where the counselors are. You can kill a counselor by hitting them with your melee weapon, or using gruesome finishers that will require Jason to grab his victim and wait until his finishing moves become available. Friday the 13th, the game, is fun to play with random people or with friends, and it's definitely a game worthy of Halloween. And that's the end of my video. Are there any other games you think would be fun to play for Halloween? Let me know in the comments below. Also, just a reminder that I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr, and you can find links to those accounts in the description below. Until next time, this is Jason from Force Hammer Gaming, signing off.